Hey, I'm Emily here at FCA. I just want to share a little bit of the story that God's been writing in and through my life. Like some of you, I prayed at a really early age to ask God into my life. I wasn't exactly sure what that meant at the time, but I knew that God loved me and I wanted Him to be a part of my life. When I got into middle school, somebody asked me why I believed what I believed about God. And that was really a question that kind of rocked me. I wasn't sure if I just accepted what I'd heard in church or what my parents taught me or what I learned at school. I didn't know whether I was just accepted that Jesus is the Son of God, the same way that I learned that gravity makes stuff fall. And so that was the first time that I really stepped back to consider why. And I was in 6th grade, and I started to read scripture for the first time for myself, and just God made Himself so known through the study of His Word and the Bible stories that I had learned growing up. They compounded this just beautiful story of what God has done in the past and what He's continuing to do, and invites each of us into this story. And I knew that I absolutely wanted to be a part of that. And when I was in middle school, I started to read scripture for the first time for myself, and it made sense to me, not just the Bible stories of old, but that Jesus Christ died on the cross to save me from my sin and my brokenness, and just all the time that I'd fallen short. And I knew that I believed in God, and I wanted Christ to become the Lord of my life, and I wanted to live my life for Him, no matter what that looked like. And so that was in 6th grade. And moving on through middle school is when I started to get more involved with athletics. I was running cross country, indoor and outdoor track, got more involved with FCA at the middle school level, and then eventually into high school with our schools huddle, as well as some of the travel teams that I competed for. We had an FCA huddle on those. And my favorite part about being involved with FCA was going to camps in the summer. For me, camp was just the most impactful and challenging part to grow in my walk with the Lord, being surrounded by like-minded believers and just following after Jesus, and being encouraged to take that back with us when we got back to school. In high school, a couple things that I began to struggle with was placing my identity in my performance in my sport. I thought that I had to be the best, I had to run the best time, I had to do all of these things to earn the approval of my coaches or my friends, teammates, my parents, just so many different people, maybe even God, thinking that He might love me a little bit more if I did better and performed at some kind of crazy level of perfection that I was chasing after. And it took me a long time to realize, and it was hard, but just learning that we're not called to be perfect, but as a follower of Christ, like, I'm to pursue excellence and just to give my best unto the Lord. And at the end of the day, when my best effort doesn't quite make the mark or doesn't quite end up with a win on the scoreboard, but Christ loves me the same, whether I PR'd or I fell short. That my identity was solely in Him. It was, again, a long, gradual process of learning this, and yet, like, the Lord is so faithful to walk with me and teach me and be so patient and kind to me while I was learning and growing through all of this in high school. Moving into college, I, again, started to fall into my identity trap and thought that I had to make it at the collegiate level. I had to perform once again to earn the approval, or just, I don't know, maybe even self-satisfaction of, hey, look, I made it, and I can do this type mentality of being able to compete in college. And yet, like, how the Lord humbled me out of that pride of thinking that I need this, that, and the other. I had to do it all on my own, when I was telling God, like, hey, these are my plans, it's going to be great, you're going to get glory for it. And yet how the Lord, like, was so patient again to, like, guide me out of my own plans and into His. Instead of running collegiate track, I ended up having an incredible opportunity to start coaching cross country as an assistant, and then led into basketball and some other different things, now with track. It's definitely not anything I would have picked out for myself, and yet, like, Lord's plans continue to be so much better than my own plans. His ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are so much higher than our thoughts. From competing in athletics as an athlete, and now on the flip side as a coach, it makes sense to me now, like what FCA is all about, and starting to move in that direction. Currently planning to joining the Greater Lynchburg staff here in a couple months after graduating. Just want to encourage you guys, pursue the Lord, to trust in Him. He has the best plan mapped out for you in your life. Surrender completely to Him, trust in Him, and He will. He'll direct your paths. It's just a little bit of my testimony of how He's been faithful in the past, and I'm excited to see how the Lord will continue to move and work and be faithful in the future. Thank you so much.